Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video I want to share an article with you, just really a very interesting article, and it's titled, I had a brother with schizophrenia. I can't stop thinking about Nick Reiner's siblings. So Nick Reiner was the young man who was arrested and charged with murdering his parents, Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner. And this piece was written by a lady by the name of Deborah Mineta, and I'm going to put a link to her article in the description for the video. And it's, well, other than the fact it's really well written. It's just a beautiful piece. And she talks about the fact, I'll just share some of this stuff. I think it's better that way. It says that 40 years ago, my brother died by suicide. He was 24, I was 21. I spent decades grappling with the impact of his illness, that his illness had on my family and me. During childhood and as a teenager, I moved easily through school, friends, activities, the appearance of normalcy, while carrying the secret of his mental illness. I believed that if people knew about him, they would think less of me. Long before I understood how profoundly it was shaping my life, I was already adapting to it, anticipating chaos, managing my own emotions, so my parents didn't have to, and learning to measure my worth by how little burden I added. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, nearly 1 in 5 US adults experiences a mental health condition each year. 20% of people. Wow, okay. Behind each diagnosis is a family system. Millions of children grow up with a brother or sister whose illness impacts daily life, yet siblings are rarely assessed or offered ongoing support. Yeah, this is so true. And I've talked about this in some of my other videos. I mean, first of all, you're dealing with a family disease. It's because it affects everybody in the family. And I've talked about how, sometimes it causes the parents' marriage to break up. It's why siblings have moved out of the house, right? They just simply can't stand to be around this when they've got a loved one who's clearly very, very sick. So I completely understand it. And it's something we see a lot of in the practice. As a child, I sometimes wished my brother weren't alive. The guilt was crushing. My parents loved my brother fiercely. They sought out the best doctors, followed recommendations, adjusted medications, and tried to keep him safe. Once as a teen, I stepped in myself, reaching my hands in his mouth to grab pills he was about to swallow. When my brother died, grief unleashed decades of those powerful emotions I had suppressed. I was heading into my senior year at Northwestern University, suddenly responsible for navigating a world that never really had seen me. Slowly through therapy and intentional support, I learned that recovery is not only for the person who is ill, it belongs to everyone who lives in their orbit, and it does not happen automatically once a crisis arises. Wow. Okay, I'm going to let you read this for yourself, but just a couple of things. Yeah, I mean, it's a family disease. It affects everybody. There was something here that she said I wanted to share with you. She said, I learned that recovery is not only for the person who is ill, it belongs to everyone whose lives are in their orbit. And it does not happen automatically once a crisis ends. Yeah. So, interestingly enough, when we talk to a family, we lay out what we think is sort of the typical treatment plan, what it looks like to work with us. I can't speak for anybody else or any other lawyer. I'm telling you what it looks like when you work with us. And it's typically a year-long journey. You don't have to hire us for a year, but it's not unusual for us to be in the case for a year, especially if it's a guardianship. We're there until the court says this case is over. And so, typically that's 3 to 6 months of some type of residential and or partial hospitalization, followed by the continuum of care. Going to meetings, getting a sponsor, working 12 steps, taking meds, continuing with some type of outpatient clinical services. But along that route, it is absolutely imperative that the family work on themselves. Because whether you know it or not, I promise you that you have been traumatized with this. It has caused damage to you. It has caused damage to your family. And the really good, clinical service providers, the treatment programs, will provide a family program so that you can do the work on yourself. Because if you don't, What happens is that 6 months, 12 months from now, when your loved one is sort of over here, really progressing nicely on that road to recovery, and you're still here, it's a problem because you need to be, to a certain extent, matching them, right? Because this is going to be a totally different person 6 to 12 months from now. Okay. And if you're still here, you're the same person who's lived, with the nightmare of this stuff. I think it's going to be difficult for you. I think it's going to be difficult if you don't deal with your own trauma, your own guilt, your own shame, whatever it happens to be. Okay, I think it's really, really important for the family, the parents, the siblings, to do the work that's necessary as your loved one goes through this recovery journey. And I think this is what this article is talking about. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Would you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think about the article? Is there another issue that you're seeing in your family? I'll happily make a video for you, because if it's affecting your family, it's probably affecting somebody else's. And I want to make sure that you get the information that you need. That's why I make these videos for you. If you like this content, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want more of this content, which I put out for you every day, sometimes twice a day, then subscribe to the channel. And with that said, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.